प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवेति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः। तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाकस्य वर्तिवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति। अविरोधितया कर्म नाविद्यां विनिवर्तयेत्। विद्या विद्यां निहन्त्येव तेजस्तिमिरसङ्घवत्। परिच्छिन्न इव ज्ञानात् तन्नाशे सति केवलः। स्वयं प्रकाशते ह्यात्मा मेघाकायेषुमानिव। अज्ञानकलुषं जीवम् ज्ञानाभ्यासाद् विनिर्मलम्। कृत्वा ज्ञानं स्वयं नश्येत् जलं कतकरेणुवत्। संसारस्वप्नतुल्यो हि रागद्वेषादिसङ्कुलः। स्वकाले सत्यवद्भाति प्रबोधे सत्यसद्भवेत्। तावत् सत्यं जगद्भाति शुक्तिकारजतं यथा। यावन्न ज्ञायते ब्रह्म सर्वाधिष्ठानमद्वयम्। उपादानेऽखिलाधारे जगन्ति परमेश्वरे। सर्गस्थितिलयान्यान्ति बुद्बुदानीव वारिणि। सच्चिदात्मन्यनुस्यूते नित्ये विष्णौ प्रकल्पिताः। व्यक्तयो विविधाः सर्वा हाटके कटकादिवत्। यथाकाशो हृषीकेशो नानोपाधिगतो विभुः। तद्भेदाद्भिन्नवद्भाति तन्नाशे केवलो भवेत्।
Early morning, I contemplate upon Atman, the essential self, shining in the heart, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, supreme goal. Fourth, which constantly cognizes the waking, dream and deep sleep states. I am that indivisible Brahman, reality, and not the assemblage of elements. So we said in the last class that every great text begins with the prayer. The prayer, invocation or Shanti mantra is essentially surrendering ourselves to the Supreme, but it has distinctly two tones of both a intellectual conviction and a devotional surrender. Here also he says Smarami. Smarami is the highest form of worship, which is contemplation upon Brahman. We said bhakti, one of the definitions given for that, or rather one of the highest definition given for that, I think it comes in Viveka Chudamani, is where he says Swaswarupa Anusandhanam Bhakti Ritya Vidiyate. A person who is able to contemplate on his own original nature, that is bhakti. When we are able to go inward and negate the material equipments and contemplate upon the self within, it is not merely an intellectual exercise, it is a deep feeling combined with intellection. That is why it is bhakti. All other forms of bhakti are also definitely bhakti. What we see or what we are supposed to see as the self within is what is found as the murti outside. This is how great masters have also shown us for our easier worship. So it has nothing to do with demeaning any other forms of worship, but a person who is able to directly worship the Nirguna Brahman as the self within, blessed is he. So since we are studying Atmabodha, the invocation talks about that type of worship. So Smarami refers to that attitude of devotion with which we contemplate upon the self. And then in the last line he says, Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nachabhuta Sankaha. It's an intellectual conviction which says that indivisible Brahman I am. I am that indivisible Brahman, not the assemblage of elements. Assemblage of elements refer to this body. This body and the other bodies within, which is, this body refers to the entirety of our body. So it is a very strong conviction with which he negates all the matter layers of our personality and positively asserts that I am the self. So this is the sort of mindset that we need before we enter into the study of Atmabodha. So this is the invocation here. And then he is talking about the adjectival clauses of Brahman in a couple of lines here. First of all, Pratasmarami also indicates that our study, reflection, contemplation or any spiritual activity must begin early in the morning. Early in the morning because that is the most conducive time for our spiritual sadhana. Our sattvic personality manifests itself. The sattva of the nature also manifests itself. It is the most conducive time for those, we are not recommending, but one who is at the high stage and he does meditation. One who is able to do thinking. You know that Swamiji's, all the books are written between 4 and 6. So whatever is the spiritual sadhana that you wish to do, ideal time is this, 4 to 6. When your thoughts are naturally oriented towards the higher. When the mind is normally calm, relatively calm. So pratasmarami. So in that early morning is a clear indication here. Upon what? Upon Atma Tattvam. Hridi samspurad Atma Tattvam. Where is this Atman? This Atman resides in the core of your personality. Hridi or heart refers to the ultimate core of your personality, that which is deep inside your personality. Heart is not this biological heart. When you say heart of a problem or heart of the city, it means the center point, the core. So like that, what is there everywhere, you have to contemplate it within your own personality, which is the center of your personality. Samspurad Atma Tattva. Spurat means that which sort of radiantly reveals by itself. It is not dug out or found out by your intellectual inquiry. Obviously, here when he says Pratasmarami, that is an intellectual exercise. Contemplation is an intellectual exercise. But intellect does not point out Brahman as it points out various other things in the world. When you constantly contemplate upon that self within, when you are deep into that contemplation and when you are negating the material layers, this which is already there, shining radiant, comes forth by itself. Spurat. Spurat means it flashes. It flashes by itself. So, all the great masters who have gone through the process, they only say that it has revealed from there within, it comes by itself. That which is your original nature. It is just that it is not visible for us now, or it is not revealing for us now because of the dirt that we have covered it from outside. All our desires, all our various ego and various material layers have covered it. Once you are able to penetrate with devotion and intellection, it automatically reveals itself. It's like a radiant sun waiting to shine. It is just that when you remove it, it automatically comes out. Hridi samspurad atma tattvam. And what is the nature of that? He says Sat-Chit Sukham. Usually the term used is Sat-Cit-Ānanda, but here that the spirit is the same. Don't go into the nitty-gritty of the word Sukha and Ananda here. Sat-Chit Sukham, it only means Sat-Cit-Ānanda. Sat-Cit-Ānanda is probably the greatest, within quotes, definition of God. When we say definition, God or Brahman cannot be defined, but what is the closest that you can go in terms of pointer which conveys its what is known as Swarupa Lakshana. All this comes in detail in Atmabodha later. He is just using this term here. Swarupa Lakshana means that which is the inherent nature. There is a way to point out something vis-a-vis something else. I think it comes later also. It's called Tatastha Lakshana. See, Tatastha Lakshana means you are pointing out something permanent with the help of something impermanent because that is visible to you now. In a row of houses which is all alike, which is all looking the same, you want to point out the house of somebody. So you say that that house where the crow is sitting on the top of the terrace, there is a, perched, there is a crow there. The crow is a movable object. It will fly away. But once you catch hold of that crow, and with the crow your focus shifts to the house, then the crow may fly off also. The crow is required to the extent that it points out the house to you. This is Tatastha Lakshana. That is to point out something indirectly through some other means. But Swarupa Lakshana is directly saying what it is. So the Swarupa Lakshana of each and every one of us, when you go deep into the core of your personality, the Atman, it is termed as Sat-Chit-Ānanda. It's a combination of three words, Sat, Chit and Ananda. When we say Swarupa Lakshana, see, we talk about sweetness as the inherent nature of sugar, vitality and light as the inherent nature of sun, heat is the inherent nature of fire. So that which makes it what it is, without which it is not what it is, that is the inherent nature. Without heat there is no fire. There can be other qualities of fire also. There can be a red color fire, there can be a black color fire, there can be some other smokes that can come. Accordingly the quality of the fire may change, but there cannot be a cold fire. Cold and fire do not go together. Fire means heat. Water means coolness. Like that, there is something known as an inherent nature. This inherent nature is its Swarupa. Swarupa means that is what it is. You cannot further dissect beyond that. That sort of a thing. All other things are added qualities along with this thing. So Swarupa Lakshana is that which is saying as it is. So in other words, it is not that Brahman is made up of three different things. One is called as Sat, one is called as Chit, and one is called as Anand. No. They are not the components. That which is the pure existence is the pure knowledge, is the pure bliss. So they are one and the same. They are in the nature of existence. They are in the nature of, it is in the nature of consciousness. It is the nature of Ananda. That is why Swarupa Lakshana cannot be directly understood. What it is Brahman, what is pure existence, you cannot know, you cannot understand. That is why we try to understand through the known things. Incidentally, what is it that is conceivable for us in this world? We see various gross bodies, including the physical bodies of matter, which is living being and non-living being. All of us have bodies. We call this gross body. We call this wood and everything as physical bodies, gross matter. And the living beings have a consciousness. They move about here and there. They are aware of the world. Something is able to cognize this. That this table is here, it is there. But how do you know it? I know it. There is a knowing principle, and all our experiences of the humans are directed towards the principle of bliss. So, manifestation we can understand. The manifestation of all the gross bodies is the Sat Tattva of the Brahman. That all of this exists. Again I am saying the existence that we see here is a limited existence. In the sense, table exists. Yes, it will continue to exist even if after you and I may go. But table does not exist forever. Table will change into something else. It will burn. Let's say ash will be there. But ash exists. Ash will be merged in water, some other thing. That will exist. And that will change into some other form. That will exist. So in and through all these things, something exists. That something which is the existence principle is. So we say tree is, wood is, table is, ash is. That is which continues. The names and forms of all these things may change. That is principle is the pure existence principle. That is referred to as Sat. The knowing principle is known as Chit. You know of something. Similarly, you don't know of something. But both these things are cognized by a conscious principle, you inside. You are the cognizing principle. So, you can say that Sat manifests in the gross matter, gross body. Chit manifests in the subtle body as consciousness. And Ananda manifests as the bliss, because all the experience ultimately is aimed towards only bliss. Right from an ant which is searching for honey to the great Lord Brahma, or whoever is doing whatever they are doing, is only aimed towards bliss, and we are getting that bliss in bits and pieces. That is the manifestation of that supreme bliss. In the introduction we only said that which we are seeking is only the reflection of your own self. With you are able to see it outside, you are able to see the reflection outside, but the source of that is within you, which is the light within. This is the manifestation, you can say from another angle, of causal body. So manifestation is what we understand, but the tattva or the core pure principle of Sat, Chit and Anand behind that is the Atma Swarupa. It is called a Swarupa Lakshana, which we will see in detail when the verse comes. Paramahamsa Gatim means it is the supreme goal. What is the ultimate goal? We said from the normal colloquial parlance, it is search of happiness. Ultimate happiness is what everybody's goal is. Consciously some people seek it, very few people seek it. Unconsciously everybody seek. You may say name, fame, power or money that you seek, but in and through you seek happiness. You seek either severance from sorrow, or you quote positively happiness, satisfaction, contentment, whatever words you can use. That is what we seek. But that only proves that the ultimate aim of every pursuit of a human being is, the ultimate goal is only happiness. All the other goals that you may say is only in line with that goal. Supreme goal of life is only this. Also, the word Paramahamsa Gatim can also be understood as Paramahamsa is a reference to the great sannyasins. The great people. When I say sannyasins, it's not I'm talking about a particular set of people. Those in whom renunciation is of very high order. For whom the goal of self-realization or attainment of godhood is very prominent. For them, this is the only goal. See, we may say that is there, but we may not be able to fully employ ourselves in that goal on a day in and day out basis without any thought of other things. We are caught up in various activities of samsara because of our bulk of our desires. Therefore, we need to do a lot of karma yoga and other things in order to purify ourselves, in order to reach that state. But for a person who has already done this, who is at a very high state of evolution, he also still has desires, but very few desires left. At the very high level of his evolution, he is there. For him, the direct goal is only self-realization. That is why Swamiji always says, if you are not able to conceive self-realization, keep self-development as the goal. That is somewhat we can relate to. Self-development means even becoming a better person than what we are now in that same line. It is not in a different angle altogether, it is in the same line. But if you want to put a stage that these people cross, you can say it is a renunciation. So it can be looked at from that angle also. It is the supreme goal. Paramahamsa Gatim, Turiyam. Turiyam refers to fourth state. Turiyam in Sanskrit means fourth. Fourth means it is beyond the known three states of consciousness. Three states of consciousness is what we go through on a regular basis, on a daily basis. We are not exempt from any of these three states at any point of time. Meaning, either we are awake, or we are dreaming, or we are sleeping. Sleeping without dreams. In sleep, there are two states. Either you can be dreaming, or you can sleep without dream. The waking state is called as Jagrat. He says in the next line. Jagrat is the waking state, where you are in contact with this world, with this universe. Swapna is called as the dream state, where you are not in touch with the universe, but you are created a universe of your own inside your personality and you are enjoying it. You are experiencing it. That is called as Swapna, where this gross body doesn't participate. You don't identify with this gross body. You identify with only the subtle body. And then another type of sleep is there, where you go beyond the dream also, where you don't have any thoughts. When you don't have any thoughts and you are awake, when you are still living, that you are lying like a log of wood on the bed, that is called as Sushupti. Sushupti means deep sleep. Absolute sleep without any disturbance, any dreams. These are the three states that we know and that we go through. Everybody goes through, and we mechanically go through. We helplessly go through, because you cannot be awake forever. So sleep is the product of tiredness of waking state. On the other hand, waking state is the product of tiredness of sleep. You cannot but wake up. No choice. You have to go through these three states of consciousness. And again, all your undigested thoughts and everything will come in a dream. Everybody has to go through these three states. Even a child, you see sometimes the child is smiling in the sleep. It is seeing something, even at that stage. Or sometimes it's crying. It is seeing some horrible dream. So these three states is what everybody goes through. And he says, this Atma Tattva is actually Turiyam. Turiyam means this is the fourth state of consciousness. There's no word for it, but you can say super conscious if you want to. That's about all. Because that term is used in Sthita Prajna also. So the first state, you can equate it to unconscious state, which is the deep sleep. The second state, you can equate it to subconscious state, which is like a dream. And this is a conscious state where you are conscious, normally conscious of what is happening in the world. But there is some other state where you are conscious of something else. When you say conscious of something else, it is not like how we are conscious of something here, where you are the consciousness principle itself, you have become. That is indicated as Turiyam, fourth. Yat swapna jagara sushuptama aveti nityam. Nityam means constantly. Constantly, yat, that which means the Atma Tattvam which he has referred to. Swapna jagara sushuptama aveti. Dream, waking and deep sleep. These are the three states. Aveti means it cognizes. When you are in the waking state, you are aware that you are in the waking state. When you are in the dream, you are aware that you are in the dream. That when you say you are in the dream means you are aware of the circumstances in the dream. That it is a dream you understand only when you wake up. But you are aware of the dream. The person in the dream also identifies with I. I am so and so. He will identify, which is you only. Waking state also you are identifying with this I. This I continues to be aware of the deep sleep state also, which we may not be aware during deep sleep, but that awareness is continuing. And we are able to understand it once we wake up. We wake up and say that I had a good sleep. Who is reporting that sleep? So that means somebody was awake when you are sleeping. That which is cognizing, that which is constantly knowing, that which never sleeps, that which is apart from these three but. Like a disinterested witness it is going through. See, the water is flowing through a tube. That tube is a glass tube. In that glass tube, in one portion you tie it with or you wrap it with a red color paper. In another portion you wrap it with blue color paper. And third portion you leave it as it is. And what we see is that the water appears red, the water appears blue, and the water appears colorless. But water is none of these. Water is something different from the tube altogether. This tube is these three states of consciousness. When it is in the waking state of consciousness, it appears to be awake, cognizing the waking world. When in dreaming, it appears to be in the dream world, cognizing the dream world. And in the deep sleep state, it appears to be nothing, or you are in cognizance of nothing. Deep sleep is not absence of experience. It is experience of absence, experience of nothing. It is experience of nothing. It is still a conditioned state, conditioned consciousness, where you are actually like becoming a nothing. That which is a witness to all these things is referred to as the Supreme Self. Yat swapna jagara sushuptam aveti nityam. And when does? Constantly. Constantly what is there is this self only. And what is interesting is, what makes us go from one state of consciousness to another is this power only. This is what is a very interesting phenomenon. Swami Ramtirtha gives a brilliant example. He talks about the phenomenon of rivers in Himalayas. A great river like Ganga, we may see the water trickling at the Gomukh or Gangotri where it starts. But where does it all lie in a dormant form is in the glaciers. From the glaciers only it has to finally form into trickles of water, then it is going to go. This glacier has the potential of the entire river, but it is a solid thing staying as it is. It has no movement. Very important. It has no reflection of sun in it. Glacier does not reflect sunlight. The moment the glacier melts into a small rivulet there, in that rivulet which is formed there is a reflection of the sun. And what does this river do in the Himalayas? It jumps here and there. It is very pure. It has no direction or dimension. It is not as it were contacting the world. It is there somewhere high. It is not useful for the day-to-day lives of a common people who are living below. And then when it comes to plains, Haridwar, Rishikesh, and then Haridwar, like that, it becomes a proper big river. It takes certain qualities, properties of the soil there. It puts on a garment, as it were. Then it is in touch with the world. It is useful to the people, like that it is. There also, reflection of the sun is there. Now it has a proper course. The glacier is equivalent to your deep sleep state, your vasanas. That which is going to flow later has the full potential there. I think in Mandukya Upanishad, it is referred to as prajnana ghanam. There is full potential of it, fully inherent in it. There is no reflection of the Atma, in the sense that you are not conscious of the deep sleep during deep sleep as far as you are concerned. There is no reflection of the sun. But sun is there. It is there. It does not get reflected there. Now, how does the glacier melt into the river? By which power? It is the power of the sun only. It is sun which melts and makes it flow into water, and there immediately there is a reflection. So in your dream state, there is a reflection of the self. That reflection is that I principle. I. The dreamer says I, no? That I principle, which is referred to as ego, conditioned consciousness. That conditioned consciousness is nothing but a reflection of that pure consciousness. And in the dream state, there is no direction or dimension. It jumps here and there, like that it is. And then when you put on a gross body, when that subtle body puts on a gross body, you become the waker. That is the big proper river which is going to flow. There is also that reflection, but it takes the properties of the personality in the full form, and then it contacts the world. Like that it is. So, as it goes through these three states, the sun is watching all these three. The sun above is watching. I am not this glacier, I am not this river or any other thing. I am that supreme sun which is the witness of all these three. The sun is not confined or arrested by the river. Sun is there independently. Exactly like that. Even as we go through these three states of consciousness, the self does not get anyway bound by these states of consciousness. It only stays as a disinterested, neutral witness of these three states. Yat swapna jagara sushuptama aveti. That which cognizes this. I am that. This is the conviction. See, this is the conviction when we say it is not a mere repetition of the word with that feeling, with that intensity that what we need to repeat. When we say repeat, you need to contemplate. So, as you think, so you become. But that we are, this body, mind, intellect is the thought that has been carried for years, not years, Janma together. So, the identification is very, very strong here. In this human birth, we are, by God's grace, by Guru's grace, we are in touch with a subject like this, knowledge like this, which is strongly putting an antidote against this self-hypnotism which we have gone to. It says, I am that Brahman. I am that Brahman. I am not this assemblage of elements. So that rejection of the material layers and assertion of the spirit, assertion of that supreme self, I am this. This is the conviction with which we are able to enter into the study of Atmabodha. That which cognizes the waking dream and deep sleep, I am that Brahman, not this body which is assemblage of the elements. Early morning, I contemplate upon Atman, the essential self, shining in the heart, which is existence, knowledge, bliss. Supreme goal, fourth, which constantly cognizes the waking, dream and deep sleep states. I am that indivisible Brahman reality and not the assemblage of elements. We'll chant verse 1.
तपोभिक्षीण पापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते.
This Atmabodha is being composed to serve the needs of those whose sins are removed by austerities, who are calm, free from desires, and yearning for liberation. Any great textbook starts with what is known as the Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha Chatushtayam means a comprehensive fourfold indication of what is that is being told in this book, who is it addressed to, what is the aim or the desired fruit of this project, and what is the connection between these. This is called as the Anubandha Chatushtayam. In fact, not for spiritual texts alone, even for any project that you do in the world, remember this. This is a very, very useful tip as far as getting the clarity of what you want to do itself is concerned. Let us say you are writing a project report, or you are writing a book, you are doing a software program, or you are whatever you are doing, you are taking up a project, you are taking a class. You must be very clear of these four, only then there will be clarity within you as to how you go about achieving it. Otherwise, there may be a khichdi, or there will be a generalization. It will not serve the purpose. From your point, your energy will not be concerted towards what you want to achieve. If a person is writing a project report, suppose he is going to build a factory or build a huge complex or whatever he is doing, he is putting up a business, he must be very clear of what is the project all about. The project is all about food processing industry or something like that. That is the exact subject matter which it is going to deal with. Who is this project report that he is preparing for? He is preparing this to give it to the bank so that he can get a loan. Then you will clearly know how to write the project report. What are the things that needs to be presented to the bank, you know. If it is to be presented as an annual report or audit report of a company to an income tax department, then it has certain things that needs to be highlighted, certain things need to be shown. Those things need not be relevant for a bank when you are applying for a loan. So, who is the adhikari? Meaning the project report that you are doing, who is going to read it? Who is going to be the adhikari for it? When you are taking a class, is it the children between 5 and 8 years or 10 years? They are the adhikari. Then you will know exactly what and how to convey. The matter could be the same, but it needs to be said in the form of a story for them. It could be a little bit of a philosophy for an adult. It could be mixed for a youngster, whatever it is. There could be some case study or something like that. So you will know who is the adhikari. Who are you addressing it to? This is very important. Even in Bhagavad Gita, you see the introduction. Swamiji says, the reader it is recommended that the reader goes through the author's book on Vedanta treatise and then he comes to the study of Gita. And the Upanishad, he would have said that you read the Vedanta treatise, Bhagavad Gita commentary and see. So a reader who is well versed with the basic Vedantic concepts and who is well versed with somewhat a higher text like Bhagavad Gita can attune to Upanishad better. So therefore, who is the adhikari? That is very important to establish. And then the subject matter. Subject matter is what you are going to do. And what is the intended result? The intended result is that by this project report, I need to get the loan. That must be clear. What is it that you are doing it for? I must get the loan. Or my auditor should pass the report. Whatever is that. That is the intended result of the project. And the connection is the adhikari, when he goes through this, should get out of this. That should be established in the mind of the person who is doing this. So, if these three things are well explained, the automatic connection will be there for him to get this. This is called a sambandha relationship. Like that, in the very first verse, Atmabodha itself, Adi Shankaracharya, he says, what is the Anubandha Chatushtaya as far as this text is concerned? Generally, some qualities are given here, but we have seen during Tattva Bodha also, the fourfold qualifications are traditionally accepted as the qualifications required for adhikari to enter into the Vedantic text. That fourfold is indicated here. It may not be comprehensive, but all the four are indicated here. We will see. The fourfold qualifications are, this we saw in Kaivalya Upanishad also. The Kaivalya Upanishad first mantra, it says, Athashvalayano Bhagavantam Parameshchinam Upasametyo. It starts with Atha. Atha means then. After that. How can the first verse start? First mantra starts with then. Then means something before. That's nothing. It's only the first mantra. It only means a person having qualified himself to reach the feet of the Guru for Upanishads. Then Ashvalayana went to Lord Brahma. That is the implied meaning of the word Atha. So, one who is fully qualified goes there. Another word about the qualities, because if we go into the analysis of the qualities, it may sometimes depress us. If these qualities are there, it's there in any person, he is already there. Now, it has to be understood that to the extent that a person is able to possess or practice these qualities, to that extent it is useful and easy for him to relate to the subject. We read various other subjects also in the school. let's say history is there taught to us, science is there, physics is there taught to us. The physics that a 3rd standard, 5th standard student reads, what he reads, and the physics that a postgraduate or a PhD, what they are going to read, it's not the same physics. How much depth is there as you go later on? Similarly, history, some general things can be given in the beginning, but you can go into the very detailed aspects of history as you go into the, if you do PhD in history or if you do post-graduation in history. Exactly like that. These qualities, at the surface level also, if you are able to practice something, to that extent it will gel with us at that level. But as you do the study and go deeper, always have a quality control or a quality check over these qualities, that you are practicing this more and more, getting deeper into these qualities. The Atma Bodha will reveal itself little more further. So this has to be positively taken, that it is urging us to gain these qualities so that we are able to grasp the contents of Atma Bodha very easily. Okay. The 4-fold qualifications that are given are Viveka, Vairagya, Śaṭsampatti and Mumukshatva. These are traditionally the 4 qualities that are given. Viveka refers to the quality of discrimination. In the Atmabodha, very clear-cut definitions are given. What is Viveka means? That which is, it is called as Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. Viveka means essentially not that normal intellect that we are talking about. That Viveka or that discrimination which is constantly discriminating between what is real and what is unreal, and what is that reality. Brahman alone is real. Everything else is unreal. This is the level of discrimination that is ultimately required to understand. In other words, as you enter into the study of Atma Bodha, later Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, a seeker who is wanting to plunge into the spirituality, ultimately realize the self, constantly has this discrimination that whatever I am experiencing as names and forms and various other things are impermanent in nature, Brahman alone is real. Brahman alone is real. This constant reflection is called as Viveka. Basically, it is an aspect of intellect. But it is too much for a beginner to contemplate upon Brahman as the reality. So at least we must develop intellect to such an extent that we are able to discriminate and understand even within the world, what is it that is going to take me to this direction, towards that reality? What is it which is going to take me away from this? See, when we talk about the highest discrimination level, Brahman alone is real, everything else is unreal. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. These are the discriminative analysis which is practiced by a seeker at a very high level. Brahman alone is real, everything else is illusory in nature, or it is Mithya. Mithya means that which is false, that is which is not is appearing as it is. But how can we constantly practice that? It is very tough. So therefore, at least we must be able to, let us say, the intellect must direct you towards those things which are able to strengthen your intellect in this direction. For example, you must know at least what is satsang and what is the place that you must not get associated with. What is your original nature, what is your immediate nature or swadharma, in which field of activity you must perform actions or take it up as a main course of your life, and where you must not go, which is your paradharma. Swadharma and paradharma. These things intellect must be able to do. Which is the area that you must fear and which is the area that you must not fear. Abhayam fearless is a very divine quality, but that does not mean a reckless way of operation in the world. If you are going and taking bath in Ganga, which is a new place where you have not gone before, you must be cautious. Where it is safe to take bath, you cannot plunge and go into the middle of the river somewhere where you will be washed away. That fear must be there. So what ought to be feared, what ought not to be feared? what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. These are the basic discrimination. In Atmabodha class, we need not come down and talk about politics, but it's in a relevant context I'm saying. Because most people who are in touch with Vedantic knowledge, suddenly they take that stance and operate with reference to everything else in the world. This must be very careful and you must be very cautious about it. See, from the absolute standpoint, a self-realized person who has reached the self, he alone is jnani. Everybody else is ajnani. Correct? But you cannot paint everybody with the same brush or the same picture you cannot have of everybody else when you are operating from a relative level. A person who is a very highly evolved person, let's say all other creatures, Brahma downwards to the mosquito or the fly, which is the lowest creature, all are individuals having ego, therefore all are ajnanis. That is correct from the absolute standpoint. But a person who is having Shastra Jnana, a person who has gone to a guru and learning, who is in a satsang, who is conscious about evolution, who is searching for the truth, you must court him. And a corrupt person, a selfish person who is always having vulgar thoughts or violent thoughts, you must go away from him. You cannot paint the picture that everything and everybody is one and the same. This is not intellect. So intellect is also in relative to understand discrimination at the relative level. Unless this clarity is there, how are we going to... Because most people, when it comes to convenience, they say. When it comes to, something is happening with reference to the nation, with reference to the larger society, why do you bother about everything is Maya, Mithya, it is all like a dream. Then you have to give him one tight slap. There will be immense pain. He will not have that discrimination to say that I am not this body. So therefore, the real practice is that I am this body, this is the level that we are. But we tend to practice that absolute level of discrimination to say that everything else is Mithya, only Brahman is there. Particularly those who are studying Advaita Vedanta, they must be careful about this, because constantly when you are feeding the thought of Brahman alone is real, it is correct. You contemplate upon it when you are studying the Atma Bodha. When it comes to the practical level, it must be toned down to apply what is what. Similarly, why I am saying this is election season is going to come, everybody is corrupt. No doubt, everybody is relatively corrupt, just as everybody is relatively selfish or unselfish from the angle that you are looking at. But if the choice has to be there for you to take, you have to choose whatever is the best that is there. That is what is clarity all about. You have to see the totality picture there. So, a discrimination is the essential quality of the intellect. If this intellectual discrimination is risen or it is raised to the level of discriminating between constantly what is real and what is unreal, what is permanent and what is impermanent, that quality in you is called as Viveka. So Viveka is able to clearly discriminate, even in relative sense, I would say, as I said, company of good people vis-a-vis money. This is more impermanent, this is more permanent. Relative. So this is discrimination. If you are able to do this, that is called as Viveka. Having done the analysis by Viveka, the next step is to hold on to what is real and discard what is unreal. This is the second and subtler aspect of the intellect. Before we go into this quality, just remember, all these qualities, 4 qualities are not one after the other. There is a general way the order is given, but constantly all the 4 qualities will be simultaneously there and be practiced, and one will support the other will complement the other. When you raise one, other will come up, and vice versa, like that it is. And what is given directly in this verse is this mumukshatva. That is a very basic and primary quality that you must have. That mumukshatva is that burning desire to liberate oneself. So once that is there, automatically Vairagya will also come. Like that it is. Okay. What is Vairagya? Vairagya is dispassion. The capacity to say no to any fruit of action accruing in this world or later. Very beautiful definition. That capacity to say no to any fruit of action, that is phalatyaga, that is saying no to any fruit of action accruing in this world or later. See, a person may have a lot of dispassion and practice certain things. He does not want anything in the world. Others are pursuing various things in the world, name, fame. He is not bothered, he is not enamored. But let us say he is enamored by what is the fruit of all these things which comes later, which could be a swarga, which could be various other things. In his own conviction, he is practicing this. But at the core thought, he is not leaving what is the enjoyment of the world itself. He is seeking that as the fruit. So dispassion is the quality by which you understand what all this world or later on whatever. This world means this visible world that is there. Invisible, whatever may accrue later on, all that which accrues to me, it's not for me. To say that conviction, that capacity is Vairagya. From the practical point of view, that which is obstacle for you in pursuing the permanent thing, you have that strength and conviction to say no when you want to say no. That is called as dispassion. Dispassion may seem like a hatred, but it has no hatred towards any being. But you do turn away from those obstacles which are in line of your pursuit. So there is no personal hatred or enmity with any being for that matter. But if that company or if that particular object or if that particular circumstance or experience is going to take you away from the pursuit of holding on to that permanent thing, you will have the capacity to say no. So that means there are certain things which ought to be courted, there are certain things which ought to be avoided. Of these two, that which is to be avoided is to be concentrated more, because the negativities which attract us are more powerful. That is more powerful. Not only that, see, suppose a person is having fever. So the doctor says, this person should not take bath in cold water. This person should eat pepper. Something, I'm just giving an example. So there is something that he must do, which is eating pepper, and there is something that he must not do, which is taking bath in cold water. Out of these two, which is more important? Not taking bath in cold water is more important. How do we say that? You do the opposite. Let us say if he has missed taking pepper, that is going to impact, but that impact is not much. Or this taking of pepper is to enhance his health further. And it's good for him. If he does that, the progress will be faster. But if you take bath in cold water, then effect will be on the other side negative. So of these two, you have to keep away from that cold water, which is a must. Like that is this Vairagya. So one is to court what is the proper fruit, which is when I say fruit, going towards self, that is what is important. But when you go along that path, there are certain things which you need to avoid at any cost. At any cost means according to your own standard, an obstacle. And we don't relate this word Vairagya with reference to where you are, let us say, a person claims to be practicing Vairagya when he is when the object is not available. He has a taste, but the object is not available. You cannot claim to be a Vairagi at that point. Similarly, in one particular area, you don't have desire at all, no raga at all, no interest at all. You cannot claim. A person doesn't have a taste for cigarette or alcohol, and he just doesn't smoke. That's all. It may be a good habit, that's different, but he cannot claim Vairagya from that point of view. Similarly, he is incapacitated. Object is available, he has interest, but doctor has said no. Or he is in such a condition that he is not able to smoke. And he is, by force, he is not able to contact it. Again, that is also cannot be termed as Vairagya. Vairagya is when you are able to genuinely understand the impediment or the ill effect of it, and by taste of something higher, you are able to firmly say no out of conviction. That is called as Vairagya. This we also experience in a small way what is known as this a term is there called as Smashana Vairagya. Smashana Vairagya is a taste of Vairagya, but in a temporary form that we practice because of a very deep touching experience. A person who is very close to you, your near and dear one, son or daughter or husband or wife, somebody is dead. Suddenly he is dead. It immediately actually makes you highly philosophical. And that experience is not a false experience, it is true. All the philosophical questions come out of you. And in the burning ghat, when you see that all, till yesterday he was talking and suddenly he is burning, is not that, what is this life all about? This question will be there. What is permanent? There is impermanent. Death is probably the greatest lesson or the education that we can have. And in that point of time, immediately say, I've been pursuing money, I've been pursuing this, I've been pursuing that. For what? I don't want any of these things. You give up everything. That is done at that heat of the moment, which is not your original state of development at that point of time, but you are temporarily elevated there because of the circumstance. When couple of days later you will be, so at that point of time, never sign any contracts or don't write any will and other thing. It is a very, because later you say, I did not only this, in any emotion you must not do it actually. In any, your decision should not come out at a point of time where you are highly emotional. That's clear. So, this is, after a few days, you will come back to what is your reality. So, if you are able to understand that state, but on a joyful basis, based on your knowledge, based on this Viveka that is there, based on the discrimination that is there, that is called as Vairagya. Intellectually, you may understand certain things, but the mind has strong tendencies towards it. It's not easy to pluck it away and throw it just like that. It has intertwined in our personality like that. So therefore, Vairagya is a deeper capacity in you than the Viveka. Of course, both Viveka will help Vairagya, Vairagya will help Viveka, but I'm just saying, Viveka and Vairagya. Then, Śaṭsampatti. Śaṭsampatti is the wealth of 6 qualities that is there. Before a girl is married off, whatever be the position of that father, rich or poor, he puts some ornaments, right? Exactly like that. When you are being married off to the self, as it were, this individual is bedecked with certain qualities as jewels, 6 qualities which are there. If we practice, it takes us even, it makes us more closer to the Guru, makes us more closer to the God, as it were. Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha and Samadhana. Shama refers to the control of the vagaries of the mind. Dama refers to the control of the senses. So Shama and Dama put together talks about a basic self-control person. It's very important. See, nowadays, not when I say nowadays, when Vedanta is available to everybody, I'm not talking only about the internet and YouTube and Google that is available. Even for decades now, we have seen that it has been spreading all over the world, and we see it as a positive move only. But when a person is not fully qualified with these qualities and is only merely understanding the theories of it, there will be a gap between what he understands and argues and what he practices at this level. So simultaneously, these qualities brings you closer to the practice level. Self-control is a very important thing, because most people do not talk about self-control as a very important step. Even in the Ashtanga Yoga, when he talks about Yama and Niyama, basic self-control, everything is a must in the very first stage itself. So that is why when we talk about intellect at the highest level of discrimination, the basic intellect to control the mind and senses is first what is important. To be little bit objective is important. So Shama is talking about the mind control. Dhamma is an important quality, particularly for humans, because it is the senses are very powerful and they take you. In Gita it says, Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipashitaha. Even a person who is striving in the path, Even for him, the senses are very powerful. We are not talking about normal persons who don't have any clue about this. They are all completely victim of senses. So Vishwamitra's story and other things indicate only this, that what is the power of the senses. He is doing tapas, but they have their own power to get attracted. And when there is a female disease within us and there is a male disease, it is the female that attracts the male, like that it is. So you have to take care of that female disease within you. Dhamma is self-control, that way, sense control. Shama is mind control, mind, various passions, various emotions, like that it is. Uparama is a sense of withdrawal. Again, remember, these qualities are for Atmabodha. Qualities are for self-knowledge. Unless otherwise a person is little bit withdrawn from the world, he cannot employ his mind and intellect fully into this. How do you achieve this? Swadharma anushtanameva. It is very, very important that a person is functioning in his swadharma. The moment we say swadharma, we relate it to activities in the world. Even there, carefully analyze. If a person is involved in his own swadharma, there is an automatic virtue in him by which he has the capacity to withdraw himself from the preoccupations of the world. Suppose if there is a scientist and his swadharma is doing research. His swadharma is studying, reflection, research. He is confined himself to laboratory and he is fully into it. We are not talking about his intentions now, whether he wants to become famous or whether he wants money. But the moment that he is operating there in that laboratory, irrespective of what the nature of that person is, he is cut off from the world. Naturally, his mind will not go into what is the score now or what is the politics going on. He may get an idea of that later, but the chances of him getting absorbed, chances of him getting withdrawn is there when you choose your swadharma. So if it's very important, because we are talking from career and point of view as to what is the demand now, what is the money that is available. Even students, teachers who give counsel to the students are talking about what is the market value for the education. A student must be encouraged by the parents and the teachers to enter into what is his swadharma. The moment a person is into swadharma, it will help him in his spirituality also. Incidentally, it will help him in getting established in the worldly success also. But such powerful message is given in Gita that it is better to die in swadharma. And this verse comes in the beginning of Gita and end of Gita. So one way to look at it is one of the key message of Gita. 3rd chapter also he says, 18th chapter also he says, Swadharme Nidanam Shreyaha. 2nd chapter also he says, even looking from your Swadharma point of view, you must fight. He says, you cannot run away from the war. So, Arjuna being a Kshatriya, his Swadharma was to fight. Like that it is. So it is very important that you find out your Swadharma and get immersed in it. Automatically a withdrawal comes. And here, it's that state of little bit indifferent towards whatever happens into the world. It is a dispassion. Vairagya is given as a practice. This is more of a little bit of a inner stage that you go through where you are indifferent. In dispassion, there is a conscious moving away from what is not conducive. Here you are indifferent to what is conducive or not conducive also. So there is Shama, there is Dhamma, there is Uparama. The other qualities, we will take it up in the next class and we will see how this first verse fits into the quality. Once he talks about the quality, 2nd verse onwards, he goes directly into the Atmabodha. Yes, sir.
We talk about these qualities, Samadhama and everything, but as far as all these spiritual texts are concerned, which are aligned towards the path towards self-realization, this is common to all. Almost common to all, that you cannot have without Shama Dhamma, you cannot follow this path. And why it is specifically given every time by this is the Sammansa. If you take Bhagavad Gita or any other, Buddha, any such thing which Prastanta, which takes you towards this path, these qualities are same for everything.
Yeah, it is same. That's why it is common for all Vedantic texts. Or the point is, a person who wants to get into the spiritual discipline in a deeper way, it is only preparing him. Even preparing of these qualities is also the path. It is not that it is not that you prepare somewhere and then only you enter the path like that. It is merging along with the path only. But the thing is, Before even we go into the higher realms of Upanishads, because of the language and style in which they are written, we are recommended that we go through Gita, and before that we go through Prakarana Gantra. So one is one step leading to the other. So a person who is entering the text, basically if he has these qualities, it will be very useful for him. So it has to be taken along. So definitely it applies to all the Vedantic texts also. Yes, sir.
We have got three stages: waking, a dream, and deep sleep. In fourth, these three stages also you have to go through, na?
You are talking about a self-realized person.
Yeah.
Self-realized person from our angle goes through the normal life that you and I also go through. Like that is what we see, and he goes through also. But never is he away from the root of the self that he is establishing. This is the main difference. As he goes through the three states of consciousness, like you and me, from his angle, that which is his erstwhile body, that body that he is, that goes through these three, he is that witness which is going through. Now we are not the witness as of now which is going through, meaning our identification is not with the witness which is seeing all these things go through, but he sees that go through. That is the difference. So he is not identifying with any of the three states of consciousness. His identification is with the self only. That is the difference.
So he is
Yes.
enjoying that also.
Yes. We'll conclude.
Poornam Adah, Poornamidam, Poornat Poornamudachyate, Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.